in July of 2018, and with the help of our family and friends, we built the salon with our own hands from the ground up. Until March 2020, we were a thriving small business, setting goals and meeting them every month. That was until the devastation of COVID-19 hit. A-List had to close its doors for 3.5 months. Fortunately, we were able to reopen July 22nd. We received a grant from the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. The NJEDA grant we received allowed us to purchase masks, gloves, touchless thermometer, along with endless amounts of disinfecting wipes and sprays. Sorry, guys. A-List also invested in a service provided by Restore Pro that used antiviral fog to disinfect the entire salon. This is a service we will continue to utilize. We were also able to purchase new filters for our HEPA filtration system. All these purchases we made are necessary to keep our staff and clients safe. We would like to thank the NJEDA for providing us with the funding to allow us to make these much-needed health and safety changes. Our goal is to continue to be diligent and adhere to all the safety guidelines so that our clients can feel confident that they will have a safe experience at our salon. As we move forward, our main priority at A-List is to provide guests with the best possible service while actively preventing the spread of COVID-19. My partners and I would like to take a brief moment to thank our staff for being accountable to our wonderful clients and to one another. And at this time, I would like to introduce Governor Murphy and add a sincere thank you for making small business a priority. Anna, Angela, myself, and the entire A-List family appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, April.
Thank you.
Great job. Well done. Thank you, April. I'm going to take this off just because I'm told people can't hear me when I'm wearing it. Good morning, everybody. It is a real treat to be here. So to April Skelsa, thank you so much for not only your comments, but the entire team here at A-List Studio for allowing us to take over your parking lot for a little while. The good news is, given both the weather and that you are open for clients, which I just saw with my own eyes, we won't keep you long, I promise you. Before I talk very briefly about why we're here today, I do want to just say something about the overnight COVID numbers. And it's a mixed bag. And it tells me, that, as we've been saying of late, that we're not out of the woods. 565 new positive cases, 24 confirmed deaths, 30 new hospitalizations. That's a good data point. 37 discharges. The spot positivity rate is, again, under 2%, 1.87%. There's no new kids inflammatory syndrome patients, thank God. But the rate of transmission is up a little bit over yesterday to 1.14. And so both anecdotally, when you hear about house parties and other flare-ups that we've seen, when you look at the raw numbers, it's a mixed bag at best. We're not out of the woods yet, and we need everybody to remain vigilant, particularly avoid being inside close congregation without social distancing, without face coverings. If you go into A-List, and I encourage everyone to go in and get a cut or something, you all have done a really good job in there. Everyone's face covered. Nobody's on top of each other. You've got stickers on the floor, lots of hygiene. That's the way it has to be. So, again, April, thank you for having us today. I'm also honored to be joined by two guys to my left, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority Chief Executive Tim Sullivan and statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Carlos Medina, and most importantly, a friend. Great to be with you, both of you guys. It is always a pleasure to be here in North Brunswick. Councilwoman, where'd you go? But thank you. Representing Mayor Womack. This township mirrors our state in so many ways, in its tremendous diversity, in its strong commitment to education, and in the strength of its sense of community. And I've been here many times, and it's been not just physical presence, but also in thoughts and prayers, in both good times and in bad. You know, I was honored to, for instance, celebrate with the mayor and Councilwoman. Thank you again for being here. The beginning and the launching of the transit village, which will be a game changer for North Brunswick. I was here to commemorate 9/11 with the mayor, a more somber occasion. And needless to say, 9 days ago, this community was overwhelmed with hatred, with the murder of a young guy and the injury of a stalwart of this community. And so our thoughts and prayers continue to be with North Brunswick, with Judge Salas and the entire community. Perhaps there's no better example of this sense of community than in the way North Brunswick embraces its small business community, small businesses like right here. A-List Hair Studio is just one of many small businesses that make North Brunswick a great place to live and to raise a family and to thrive. A couple of weeks back, I had the great pleasure of speaking with April on the phone, and another of the A's who's now finally in the shade. I want to give a shout out to that woman right there, Anna Pluhowski. Anna, it's great to have you with us today. It was great speaking to you. And please give Angela my best as well, the third A in the A list. I think she's coming in on the late shift. Is that right? We spoke on that Sunday a couple of weeks ago about how even with more than 20 years of experience in business, nothing could prepare them for the impact that this pandemic has had. And we talked about how A-List was able to keep its faith and reopen its doors to its clients in good measure because of a direct grant received from the Economic Development Authority's Small Business Emergency Assistance Grant Program. This support highlights the growing partnership between the state, on the one hand, and our small businesses. And it also highlights the continued need for us to help our small business community weather these unprecedented times. So here we are today. And I am proud to announce a third offering of $15 million in direct grant funds to support even more qualified small businesses across the state through the Small Business Emergency Assistance Grant Program. In April, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority put this program in place to help the small businesses who we knew were facing a dire need for direct grant assistance for survivals. In fact, we were one of the first states to put a program like that in place. We knew that there were businesses for whom federal pandemic relief would not be enough, and that there were other business owners who simply would not qualify. We sought to help fill a void before our small businesses fell into a void. Initially, the program offered a total pool of $5 million, but it was soon recognized that that wasn't nearly enough. So in June, a second tranche of funding was made available, this time $50 million. And again, these resources were quickly exhausted. With this latest phase of funding we're announcing today, we will have put forward a total of $70 million in direct grant assistance to small businesses who not only need it, but as these ladies can attest, deserve it. Deserving small businesses, again, just like this one behind me, A-List Hair Studio. Our small businesses are the backbone of our economy. More New Jerseyans work for a small business than anywhere else. Seeing both businesses and employees emerge from this pandemic strong and ready for the times ahead is critical to the success of our overall restart and recovery. Strong and resilient small businesses mean a strong and resilient economy and a strong and resilient New Jersey. I am proud that we could take this step today to build this stronger and more resilient economy and to protect more of the small businesses who contribute so much to our communities. With that, again, it's an honor to be here. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce the President and CEO of New Jersey's Economic Development Authority, Tim Sullivan.
Thank you, Governor. It's great to be here, and thank you so much for hosting us. It's great to be with you, and congratulations on all the work you've put into surviving and thriving during this terrible time. Governor Murphy said from the outset that first and foremost, of course, this is a public health crisis, but it's a public health crisis that has left in its wake a devastating economic crisis that's going to be with us as long as the pandemic and probably even longer. And by providing the kinds of resources that Governor Murphy's described today, back as early as March and April and on through today, and my guess is on into the future, our goal is to really help stabilize and support as many small businesses as possible to get through this most difficult part of the crisis, the public health and pandemic dimension, but also to do the investments that they need to be resilient in the face of what is going to be an ongoing challenge in the months and probably longer to come. And so it's great to hear that you use the grant to support PPE and get your processes in place to be able to make the journey here as we go into the future. The governor just announced yesterday, late last week, we clicked over 10,000 small businesses that EDA has supported through the various programs that the governor has announced since the beginning of the pandemic. Now, more than with the governor's announcement today, we'll have $70 million of grant funding available. Again, we've directly supported 10,000 businesses already, but we've had a really intentional focus on making sure that it's the businesses that need it most and that have historically struggled to access not just capital generally, but specifically government-supported programs, particularly minority and women-owned firms. Of the Phase 2 grant, the big pot of money that has been allocated prior to this, the $50 million, 20% of that money has already gone to businesses that self-identify as minority-owned, and a little bit higher, about 24%, to businesses that self-identify as women-owned. Because we know that these are firms that, even in good times, struggle to access capital as much as the rest of the economy. And so it's been a really intentional focus of Governor Murphy and our entire team to provide a suite of resources, particularly focused on historically underserved communities. And that's why it's so great that Carlos is here to talk about the efforts that he and his team have been leading and partnering with us to make sure that these funds are distributed equitably and get to the places where they can have the biggest impact. So we're grateful to the governor for his confidence in us to administer $15 million more funding, but more importantly, grateful for his commitment to small businesses in New Jersey, particularly at this time when that support is needed more than ever, now more than ever. We'll look forward to rolling this funding out. We were, as I think was pretty widely reported, oversubscribed for all the funding we've had so far, and so this will allow us to say yes to more of the applications that are in hand, particularly in places where there wasn't direct money provided to counties to support their small businesses. And so this money will go fast and it'll go far. Because we know there's a significant need out there as this pandemic continues to be with us and as the economic crisis continues to be such a huge challenge. So again, thank you, Governor. Great to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Tim, thank you. I'll keep my mask on because I'll be brief. It's another example of the reason why we need more federal cash and federal assistance, because we'll take money. Not only will we keep frontline folks employed like firefighters, police, EMS, educators, healthcare workers, but we'll be able to have a lot more latitude and drive more money into the small business community, which we desperately need to continue to do. So Tim, thank you for your leadership. I want to say a couple of things about Carlos and the Chamber. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, he's a very good friend, and that's probably at the top of the list. And I appreciate his coming out today. But two other quick points. Number one, it takes a village. So as good as Tim and his team are, as much federal money as we may or may not get, as good as our intentions are, government can't do it all by itself. So to work with allies in the state, like Carlos in the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is an organization with which we have a deep and very strong relationship, it's really important to have allies right now, because you can amplify the support. You can get the word out faster and stronger. You can get help to folks more easily and more quickly. So I can't thank you enough for that role that you play, Carlos, and the whole chamber. And secondly, just to make an obvious point, but it's an important one, the Hispanic community generally in this state is exploding as a percentage of our population, and not surprisingly, it's exploding as a percentage of the small businesses in our state. So this is not just a nice to have, this is a central, essential element of our state's broad tapestry, our society, as well as our economy and our business community, and especially our small business community. So with that, please help me welcome the President and CEO of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Carlos Medina.
Thank you, Governor. Thanks for being a friend, for being an ally. We're the voice of the 120,000 Hispanic-owned businesses that call New Jersey home. We guesstimate those businesses contribute $20 billion annually to the New Jersey economy. But we can't do what we do as a chamber without allies such as the two gentlemen sitting behind me, Tim Sullivan and the governor. When this crisis hit, we had to pivot as an organization. We immediately started doing remote calls. We've developed 3D technology to have virtual events. And the governor and Tim have also lent their time, whether it be at early morning or late in the evening, to be parts of these events. And because of some direct funding, we've been able to process close to 300 PPP, EIDL, and EDA direct loans for our members. These are members that also already face a huge challenge. It could be a language hurdle that they have to face. It could be that they're first generation and don't have a Rolodex that some other companies that have been in New Jersey for many generations have. So we're their mentor, we're their lawyer, we're their CPA. We try to help these folks out. But just like we had to pivot, we're proud of a state and an organization such as EDA that's been able to pivot and do a lot with a little. As a nonprofit, we feel like we're very lean, we have a lean overhead, but the governor's office has taken money and reallocated it and pivoted when he saw a need for members and for businesses that have applied for funding. So this extra $15 million will go a long way, not just for our members, but for many small businesses that are really in crisis right now. So I can't say enough about the friendship and partnership, both with the governor's office and with EDA, to really enable us to do what we do for small businesses. And it's just not for Hispanic small businesses. We train about 100 entrepreneurs a year on a training program. One of the classes focuses on women-owned businesses, and we graduated 35 women entrepreneurs in this class. And we accept veterans, African-American members, Irish members, members from Spain, Italy. We accept anybody who has an open heart and believes in diversity. That's really our criteria. And our passion is always to help New Jersey. I'm a Jersey guy and I love New Jersey. And I recently had a phone call with the head of the United States Hispanic Chamber, who represents 4.7 million Hispanic-owned businesses. And we don't realize, being here in Jersey, being in the woods, but when you kind of look out of the forest, his comment was, Phil Murphy and the governor of New York are doing amazing things. He's in Texas, and he says the uncertainty of a leader is really devastating the business community in Texas, because they don't have a firm plan on how to open, how they're going to do things staged, and it's open, don't open, and it's been devastating to the Hispanic business community in Texas. So it was nice to hear that we really are a model in the entire United States for small businesses, and proud to be a part of this effort in helping New Jersey small businesses. Thank you.
Thanks, Carlos. Thank you. I think we'll take a couple of quick questions, and I say quick only because of the weather, but I want to say before, Carlos, Sullivan and Murphy are very happy to hear that the Irish are still welcome at the chamber. So thank you. Daniel. This is CRF, right? Yeah, it's CRF money, Coronavirus Relief Fund. I don't know the answer to that. How much is left that can be used for small businesses? We're trying to find every nickel we can. We'll come back to you. Tim, do you want to come in? Yeah. No, this is through the Economic Development Authority. Their board of directors, obviously, they've got their own governance. Matt.
Governor, question on schools. Have you considered making private schools have a remote option like public schools, given the nature of the pandemic? Is that something that the state can do?
I don't think would stand in the way. I mean, I think it would be inconsistent, I think, at the very least, for us to allow one set of schools a rule of the road and not the other. So I think the answer has to be yes. Go ahead.
I actually haven't started talking. I'm going to take the mask off from here. I wanted to ask you a question about borrowing. Are you any closer to making a specific request for the types of bonds you want to issue?
We normally have our microphone. We probably should. We should probably get back to that habit.
In general, even before the $9.9 billion, how much is your business debt? What is our number as of right now?
I don't have the number off the top of my head, but we're one of the most indebted states in America per capita by any measure relative to our GDP. And it's been a huge, the first 2 years, I've said this before, as Mike Tyson would say, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. We had 2+ years of dogged refinancing, being smart about, I'm not patting ourselves on the back, but we got elected to stronger, fairer New Jersey, but also a stronger state and fairer state government. And we have made an enormous amount of progress on that front. But we're one of the most indebted per capita relative to GDP states in America. But having said that, this is, at the moment we have no other choice. I mentioned yesterday I spoke to Speaker Pelosi on Sunday, Senator Schumer yesterday, Leader Schumer yesterday. You looked at what the Republicans presented in their version of more relief in their own bill. I'm not very optimistic about federal money right now. So right now, borrowing's all we got. I mean, we've also put the word out that we'll consider revenues. We've also put the word out to all of our departments and agencies. Tim is on the receiving end of this, that we expect significant cuts in budgets. There's nothing new per se on the specifics of the borrowing. I spoke to the Speaker last night. I was on the phone with the Senate President coming over here. It's still early. We're still in the process of putting our budget together, and it will be much more evident and much clearer when the budget comes together, which will have to come together before a month from now. Please. You want to jump in, Tim? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so this would basically expand the existing program and allow us to fill more. We have a big backlog of applications. We got 30,000 or 33,000 or so applications for the second round of funding that we did. This will allow us to fill up a bunch of that backlog on the same up to $10,000, no more than 25 employees, sole proprietors included, home-based businesses included, 1/3 of the money reserved for opportunity zone eligible census tracts. All that applies here too.
I mean, the good news with that reality is there's not another application round. To say we were oversubscribed, I think understates the case. There's a lot of unmet demand, and we'll just go back and Tim and his team will go back and chop through that list.
Real quick clarification on that question, because I asked you if you were mandating to have that option for remote learning, and you said two things. You said, I don't think you're standing by with the list, so I think the answer is yes. So I wanted to clear that.
Well, we're not mandating it in public schools. It's an option we're giving to districts and to parents to allow more flexibility. And my answer would be, unless someone tells me otherwise, I don't know why we wouldn't offer that same flexibility to all schools, not just the public schools. Yeah, man, I don't have any overnight data for you. Patterson has been a community, one of our great communities, by the way, that's had a disproportionate amount of shooting incidents of late, and it's the whole range of things that you would expect. It's law enforcement, it's community engagement, it's continuing. We've made an enormous amount of progress on gun safety. We need to make more, quite clearly. North Brunswick has seen it up close, sadly, Councilwoman, and tragically and personally, and we need to continue to make progress. I think that's going to be just in the interest of a few people melting out there. I want to thank April and Anna and Angela in absentia and your whole team, because I see some of your teammates are out here as well. When we spoke on the phone, which I think was Sunday, July 12th, if my memory serves me correctly, I made several commitments. One is that I wanted to meet you. One is that I wanted to visit the studio. I've made good on both of those promises. I also said I'd come by and get a haircut, which I can't make good on today. The good news what that means, I've got to come back. So April, Anna, Angela in absentia, to your teams. Carlos, can't thank you enough. Tim, likewise. Stay cool, everybody. These are brutally hot days. 211 is the number if you're looking for a cooling center. Councilwoman, thanks to you and your colleagues and the mayor for hosting us so graciously. Thank you all. Thanks, Anna. April. Bless you. Am I going this way? Okay. Anna, thank you. Thank you all. Carlos, love you, buddy.